In the world of chess, Magnus Carlsen has the unmatched brilliance of a true prodigy. A modern-day chess titan who has captivated the world with his astonishing strategic acumen and lightning-fast decision-making. In this video, we will unveil Magnus Carlsen's most rapid checkmates that left his opponents in shock and humiliated. Sergei Karyakian. In the first game, Carlsen faced off against Sergei Karyakian, an incredibly skilled super grandmaster who once held the record for the youngest grandmaster in the world. Both players had a time control of 3 minutes, with a 2-second increment on their clocks. The game kicked off with Magnus making his favorite move, e4. Sergei responded with the common e5, leading the game into a Ruy Lopez Berlin defense variation. Magnus made some strategic moves, exchanging his bishop for Sergei's knight and developing his queenside knight to d2. Sergei opted for an early castle, presenting Magnus with various options. Choosing the safe path, Magnus castled. As the game progressed, he played bg5, pinning Sergei's knight to the queen. Sergei countered with h6 to attack the bishop, but Magnus skillfully retreated it to h4, maintaining the pin. Sergei, after some contemplation, played g5, missing Magnus's plan. At this point, pause the video and try to guess the correct move. Magnus surprised with g4, attacking Sergei's bishop and offering an exchange. Sergei made a mistake by not accepting the exchange and moved his bishop back to g6. Magnus mirrored by moving his bishop to g3, initiating a strong kingside attack with all his pieces. Magnus seized the open h-file with his rook, leaving Sergei perplexed. Sergei attempted to exchange most of the minor pieces on the king side, but Magnus ended up with a powerful pawn on f5 and a dominating knight on e4. Despite Sergei's efforts to contest the open h-file, Magnus forced a rook exchange and brought his queen into the attack. Sergei attempted to counter the queen, taking the h-file, but Magnus played qg6 with a check, winning the f6 pawn and later securing a rook exchange. After organizing his pieces, Magnus unleashed the final blow with f6, threatening checkmate in 2 moves. Sergei resigned, and what's remarkable is that Magnus still had close to 2 minutes on his clock, while Sergei was down to 4 seconds. Magnus defeated the Super Grandmaster in about a minute, showcasing his intimidating skill. However, this achievement pales in comparison to his match against FM Espen Agdestein. Espen Agdestein. Espen isn't your average player. He's a feed master. Before you consider challenging one, think twice because they can probably outplay both you and me, just like Carlsen did to Espen. In this game, Carlsen surprises everyone with g3, opting for the king's fianchetto opening, a less common choice at this level. Espen responds with the principled move d5. As the game unfolds, Carlsen strategically challenges the center with e4. Both players quickly castle, and Carlsen seizes the opportunity to create weakness in the center with c4. Despite Espen's attempt to defend his king by placing the dark-squared bishop on f8, Carlsen's knights are already positioned for a powerful attack. Espen tries to prevent potential threats by playing h6, but Carlsen counters with qf3, involving the queen in the attack. Unfortunately, Espen panics and makes a crucial mistake by taking the knight on e4, opening up more opportunities for Carlsen. Carlsen takes advantage of the situation by playing rg4, setting the stage for various tactical maneuvers. Espen attempts to defend with kh8, but Carlsen sacrifices his knight, playing rg7, bringing his queen closer to the black king. Despite Espen's defense with rg8, Carlsen continues his assault with rg6, threatening both the queen and the h6 pawn. Espen tries a last-ditch effort by placing his knight on f6, but it proves futile. Carlsen swiftly takes the pawn on h6 with his bishop. Espen recaptures the bishop on h6, and Carlsen seals the game by recapturing with his rook, setting up a checkmate on the next move. Facing inevitable defeat, Espen resigns. Remarkably, Carlsen completes the game with 22 seconds left on his clock, showcasing his exceptional speed. As if that weren't impressive enough, Carlsen's next opponent isn't a chess master, but the wealthiest person alive, Bill Gates. Bill Gates, though a tech genius, faced a tough opponent when he tried his hand at chess against the world's best player, Magnus Carlsen. Starting with some basic chess knowledge, Gates initiated with the popular e4 move. However, his lack of familiarity with the lines and openings became evident. Magnus responded with the Nimzowitsch defense, choosing a less common opening. Gates continued with nf3, and Magnus challenged the central e4 pawn by playing d5. Gates responded with bd3, a move that wasn't the most principled. Magnus continued with nf6, forcing an exchange of central pawns and bringing his queen out to d5. Gates played nc3, attacking Magnus's queen, and Magnus saved it by moving it to h5. Gates seemed a bit uncertain about his next move, and eventually decided to castle, a decision that wasn't the best as Magnus's pieces were already poised for an attack. Magnus capitalized on this by playing bg4, hoping to exploit the pinned position of Gates's pieces. Gates countered with h3 to attack the bishop, and Magnus brought another piece into the attack with ne5. In a series of moves, Gates took Magnus's bishop, and Magnus recaptured the pawn with his knight. At this point, White was in a precarious position. Gates made a final blunder by taking the knight on e5, leading to Magnus delivering checkmate on h2 with his queen. In just 9 moves, Magnus Carlsen secured victory against Bill Gates, all happening in less than 12 seconds. If you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Lars Monsen. In the final game, he faces off against the well-known explorer and decent chess player Lars Monsen. Magnus plays with a handicap of 2 minutes and 30 seconds, while Monsen has a full 3 minutes on his clock. Magnus kicks off with a natural move, e4, and Monsen responds with c5, entering the complex Sicilian defense. Magnus follows the main line, and Monsen opts for the uncommon Lowenthal variation, making it a rare choice at high-level tournaments. As the game progresses, Monsen improves the position of his pieces, but makes a fatal mistake by castling. Magnus seizes the opportunity, launching a pawn storm towards Monsen's king. Monsen responds by moving his knight to e8 to fortify his king's defense. But this move allows Magnus to attack with tempo, breaking Black's castle with g5. Monsen suggests a knight exchange on e7, which Magnus accepts, followed by capturing the pawn on h6. If Monsen had taken on h6, Magnus would have gained a significant advantage. Instead, Monsen defends with g6, but Magnus, seizing the semi-open g-file with his rook, presses on with another pawn push to h5, threatening to expose Black's castle. Monsen defends with rg8, and Magnus capitalizes on the weakened king side by exchanging pawns. The game continues with both players making additional moves, but Monsen blunders by playing qf7, dropping his queen. In a momentary mishap, Monsen accidentally knocks the clock, costing Magnus a couple of seconds. Despite this, Magnus surrounds Monsen's king and secures victory with a final decisive move. These were just some of the fastest victory in Magnus Carlsen's career. It is evident that Magnus Carlsen is more than just a chess player. He is a true master of the game. So the next time you sit down at the chessboard, just remember, you may be facing a formidable opponent, but you're not playing against Magnus Carlsen. Which checkmate did you find the most entertaining? Let us know in the comment section below, and make sure to like the video.